quick thing about the team. 4 minutes left, folks. Be nice to yourself. Fundraising is hard. Fundraising is often not a lot of fun. Be nice to yourself. Be kind, be generous, be patient with yourself, and be, I'm not talking about like shower yourself with gifts or things like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just give yourself a break. What you're doing is hard, writing a funding bid, and you've got plenty of other things to be doing. Always work out in terms of the team, always work out, know in advance who is the one who is responsible for submitting. Because you don't want to get to a point where it's like, well, I thought you were supposed to do that. I didn't do it. No, I thought you were doing it. You don't want that to happen. Be very clear who is going to submit, particularly if you're putting together a bid as a team. You also need to have some sense of who decides. If you've got 2-3 different ideas about what a project should be, you need someone who decides. And that someone isn't necessarily the person in charge. It might be, say, the fundraiser. It might be the community you're working with. It might even be the donor, and you go to the donor with 2 or 3 different ideas, and they advise you which one to go with. On your team, keep an eye out for anyone who's a good fundraiser. Fundraising is not, I know people who are professional fundraisers who have worked in fundraising all their lives and have been successful at winning grants, but I would argue they're a rubbish fundraiser because they win some grants, but perhaps those grants were big government grants where there was a big team involved. And actually, this particular person who's employed as a fundraiser just slowed them down. So keep a lookout for people who are good fundraisers and try to empower and support them. Again, I haven't left time for an activity. I wanted to think about what the qualities of a good fundraiser might be. There was an example last week when someone was quite charming towards me at the end of the call. And actually, charm is quite a good fundraising skill. Another good quality is analytical thinking. You know, to be able to sort of analyze something, to be able to present an argument. That's really helpful. So if a person's good at arguing, not like all over the place or not, you know, giving in too easily. If they're good at arguing, that can be a good fundraising quality. But then also, like, will they work and get it done? You know, are they diligent? Do they remember the details? Things like that. I spoke last time about the power of fundraisers and an organization as something we need to be sensitive to, because it's, I would argue it's the fundraisers who decide what an organization does. So remember that in your team when you're writing a bid, because literally a little change in the budget can be, and often is, a little change in somebody's income that is actually a big deal for them. And the money defines what an organization does. So yeah, you know, choose your bids carefully, because, you know, if you don't want to be doing something in this area, you know, for the next little while, don't write the bid, you know. And you need to have senior team members to be supportive and on board, and that includes like board directors, not just, you know, chief executives or whoever. They need to, you need to have a supportive team around you. And if they're trying to interrupt you on the day of the deadline whilst you're trying to get something submitted, if they're trying to interrupt you to get you to do something else, try and encourage them to say, you know, don't interrupt, but please bring me a nice cup of tea. That would help. You know, trying to help people to understand what kind of support you need.